wind pulled at Ethan's coat as he stood before the small gray stone. The letters carved into it were simple: Liam Cole. Beloved son, gone too soon. 2 years. It had been 2 years since the crash. 2 years since everything stopped making sense. Ethan came here every week. He never spoke. He never cried anymore. He just stood there, staring at the name, feeling nothing but an empty space where his heart used to be. The cemetery smelled like fresh-cut grass and rain. Dark clouds rolled across the sky. Other people walked between the stones, carrying flowers, wiping tears. But Ethan always came alone. He was about to leave when he heard footsteps behind him. Small footsteps. Sir, Ethan turned around. A little boy stood there, maybe 5 years old. He had messy brown hair and big green eyes. He wore old sneakers with holes in them and pants that were too short, but it was the shirt that made Ethan freeze. The boy wore a striped shirt, blue and white stripes, exactly like the one Liam used to wear. The same shirt Liam had begged Ethan to buy him 3 years ago at the mall. The same shirt Liam wore in dozens of photos. The same shirt Ethan had buried with his son. Where did you get that? Ethan's voice came out rough and strange. The boy looked down at his shirt and smiled. Your son gave it to me yesterday. The world tilted. Ethan grabbed the gravestone to steady himself. His heart pounded in his chest like a drum. What did you say? Your son, the boy repeated, pointing at the grave. Liam, he gave me this shirt yesterday. He said I should wear it today. He said you'd be here. Ethan's throat went dry. This couldn't be real. This was impossible. Liam was dead. Liam was gone. Ethan had watched them lower the coffin into the ground. He had thrown dirt on top of it. He had heard the final prayers. That's not funny, Ethan said, his voice shaking. Who put you up to this? Who told you to say that? The boy didn't look scared. He just tilted his head like he was confused. Nobody told me. Liam did. He talks to me sometimes. Stop it. Ethan's hands were trembling now. Stop lying. My son is dead. He's been dead for 2 years. He can't talk to anyone. I know he's dead, the boy said softly. That's why he needs help. He has something important to tell you, but he can't do it himself. So he asked me. Ethan wanted to walk away. He wanted to run. This was crazy. This was some sick joke. But his feet wouldn't move, because the boy wasn't laughing. He wasn't smirking. He looked completely serious. And he was wearing Liam's shirt. How do you know my son's name? Ethan whispered. He told me. He also told me you used to make him pancakes every Saturday. He said you put way too much syrup on them. The boy smiled. He said it made them soggy, but he never told you because he didn't want to hurt your feelings. Ethan's legs felt weak. Nobody knew that. Nobody. It was just something silly between him and Liam. A private joke. Ethan always poured too much syrup, and Liam would laugh but eat them anyway. Who are you? Ethan asked. My name is Noah. I live near the church on Maple Street. That's where I found the box. What box? Noah's eyes lit up. The box with his shirt. And other things, too. There was a note inside. Liam wrote it. Well, kind of. He helped someone else write it a long time ago. Before the crash. Ethan's mind was spinning. Nothing made sense. But something deep inside him, something that had been asleep for 2 years, was waking up. Show me. Ethan heard himself say, show me this box. Noah nodded and reached out a small hand. Okay, but you have to promise not to be scared. Scared of what? Of the truth. Ethan stared at the little hand reaching toward him, a hand that belonged to a stranger, a boy who claimed to talk to the dead, a boy wearing his dead son's shirt. Every logical part of Ethan's brain screamed at him to walk away, to go home, to forget this ever happened. But he couldn't, because what if it was real? What if, somehow impossibly, Liam had found a way to reach him? What if his son had been trying to talk to him all this time, and Ethan had been too buried in grief to notice? Ethan took Noah's hand. It was warm and small and alive. Take me to the box, he said. Noah smiled and started walking, pulling Ethan gently toward the cemetery gate. As they walked, Ethan looked back one more time at Liam's grave. The wind had died down. The dark clouds had parted just a little, letting through a single ray of sunshine. It fell across the gray stone, making it glow. For the first time in 2 years, Ethan felt something other than emptiness. He felt hope, even if it was crazy, even if it broke his heart all over again. He had to know. They walked out of the cemetery together, the rich man and the poor boy, connected by a striped shirt and an impossible story. Ethan didn't know it yet, but his life was about to change. Because sometimes the dead find ways to speak. And sometimes, if you're brave enough to listen, they can teach you how to live again. Noah hummed a little song as they walked. Ethan recognized it. It was a song Liam used to sing in the car on the way to school. The song Ethan had forgotten until this very moment. "How do you know that song?" Ethan asked, his voice barely a whisper. Noah looked up at him with those big green eyes and smiled. "Liam taught it to me. He said it was your favorite." And as they walked toward Maple Street, toward the church, toward the mysterious box that held answers Ethan couldn't imagine, one thought kept running through his mind. What else did Liam leave behind? What other messages was he waiting for Ethan to find? The afternoon sun warmed their faces as they walked. Somewhere in the distance, church bells rang. And for the first time since the crash, Ethan Cole felt like he might actually want to find out what tomorrow would bring. The church on Maple Street was old and painted white. The paint was peeling in places, showing gray wood underneath. A small garden grew beside it, full of wildflowers that nobody planted but somehow kept coming back every spring. Noah led Ethan around to the side of the building. There, under a wooden awning, sat 3 large cardboard boxes with a sign above them. "Free clothes. Take what you need." That one, Noah pointed to the box in the middle. "That's where I found the shirt. My mama brings me here sometimes when I need new clothes. She says there's no shame in needing help." Ethan felt something twist in his chest. He had been so rich for so long. He'd forgotten what it meant to need help. He'd forgotten a lot of things. "Is the box still here?" Ethan asked, kneeling down. "Some of it. People took most of the clothes already, but the special things are still there. Nobody wanted them because they didn't understand." Noah reached into the box and pulled out a small wooden case. It was dusty and old, with a tiny lock on the front, but the lock was broken. Ethan's hands shook as he took it. The wood felt familiar. Where had he seen this before? "Open it," Noah whispered. "That's where the message is." Ethan lifted the lid. Inside, wrapped in tissue paper, was a photograph. He pulled it out carefully, and his breath caught in his throat. It was him, a younger him. He was smiling, really smiling, with his arms around a woman. His wife, Sarah. She had died when Liam was only 2 years old. In the photo, she was pregnant, her hand resting on her belly. Liam, before he was even born. Ethan had forgotten this photo existed. He had packed away all of Sarah's things after she died, because looking at them hurt too much. But there was something else in the box. A piece of paper, folded many times. The edges were worn, like someone had opened and closed it 100 times. Ethan unfolded it with trembling fingers. The handwriting was messy, like a child's. But Ethan knew it immediately. It was Liam's handwriting from 3 years ago, when he was 7 years old. The note said, "Give this to the boy who still needs a dad. Tell him dads can be sad and still love you. Tell him my dad forgot how to smile, but maybe your dad can remember. Love, Liam." Ethan read it 3 times, then 4. Then he couldn't read anymore because tears were blurring his vision. "I don't understand," he whispered. "When did Liam write this?" A soft voice answered from behind him. "About 3 years ago." Ethan turned. A woman stood there, thin and tired-looking, with the same green eyes as Noah. She wore a waitress uniform and carried grocery bags. "I'm Grace," she said quietly. Noah's mother. "I'm sorry if he bothered you. He doesn't always understand that some things sound strange." "He didn't bother me," Ethan said, standing up, "but I need to understand. How did this box get here? When did Liam write this note?" Grace set down her groceries and sighed. "I volunteer at this church sometimes. I help sort the donations. This box came in about 2 months ago from an estate sale. The Cole estate, actually. Your estate, I think." Ethan felt dizzy. My estate? But I never. Then he remembered. After Sarah died, after Liam was born, Ethan had thrown himself into work. He'd built a tech company that made millions. And he donated things. Lots of things. Clothes, furniture, boxes of stuff he didn't want to look at because they reminded him of happier times. He donated them to churches and shelters, writing checks and having his assistant handle everything. He never looked at what he was giving away. He just wanted it gone. The wooden case was in one of your donation boxes, Grace continued. Most of it was old baby clothes and toys. But this case was tucked in the bottom. Noah found it when he was looking for a shirt. He opened it and saw the note. He can't read very well yet, so I read it to him. And the shirt, Ethan asked, looking at the striped shirt Noah wore. It was in the case, too, wrapped around the photograph. When Noah heard the note, he insisted we had to find you. He said, Grace paused, looking uncomfortable. He said Liam told him you needed help. I don't understand. Liam died 2 years ago. How could he? I know how it sounds, Grace said quickly. Believe me, I know. But Noah has always been different. Ever since his father died 3 years ago. Noah sometimes says things he couldn't possibly know. He talks about people he's never met. He knows things before they happen. She wiped her eyes. I thought I was going crazy. But then he found this box. And he knew your name before I read in the note. He knew where you'd be today. He drew me a picture of the cemetery last night and said, we have to go here tomorrow. The sad dad will be there. Ethan's mind was racing. This couldn't be real. But the note was real. The photograph was real. And Noah had known things, private things, that nobody else could know. My son, Ethan said slowly, he wrote this note 3 years ago, before Sarah and I got divorced, before I became so obsessed with work that I forgot how to be a father, before the crash. He looked down at the note again, telling my dad forgot how to smile. Liam knew, Ethan whispered. Even back then, he knew I was pulling away. He knew I was drowning in grief and work and everything else. And he tried to tell me, in the only way a 7-year-old could. He sank down onto the church steps, his whole body shaking. I was supposed to drive him that night, Ethan said, his voice breaking. The night of the crash. But I had a meeting, an important meeting that couldn't wait. So I sent him with his nanny instead. The words poured out like poison, leaving a wound. There was a drunk driver. He ran a red light. The nanny died instantly. Liam held on for 3 hours. I got to the hospital just in time to hold his hand when Ethan couldn't finish. He buried his face in his hands. Grace sat down beside him. She didn't say anything. She just sat there close enough that he knew he wasn't alone. Noah climbed onto Ethan's other side and leaned against his arm. Liam's not mad at you, Noah said softly. He told me. He said you were the best dad when he was little. He said you used to read him stories every night. He said you made up silly voices for all the characters. Ethan let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. I did. I used to do that. Before Sarah died. Before I forgot how to be anything except angry and sad. Liam says you can remember. Noah continued. He says it's not too late. He says I need a dad, and you need someone to practice being happy with. Ethan looked at this little boy in his dead son's shirt, speaking words that felt like they came from somewhere beyond understanding. Why you? Ethan asked, why did Liam choose you? Noah shrugged. Maybe because we're both missing someone. You lost your son. I lost my dad. Maybe Liam thought we could help each other not be so lonely. Grace put her hand on Ethan's shoulder. I know this is crazy. I know you probably think we're trying to scam you or something. You don't have to believe any of it. But Noah found your box. He found your son's note. And maybe that's enough. Ethan looked at the photograph in his hands. Sarah's smile. His own smile. The happiness they'd had before life took it all away. Then he looked at Noah, swimming in a striped shirt that was too big for him, with hope shining his eyes. And Ethan made a choice. Can I ask you something? He said to Grace. Of course. Do you like pancakes? Grace blinked in surprise. Pancakes. Yes. Because I make terrible pancakes. I put way too much syrup on them. But someone once told me they're still worth eating. Noah's face lit up like sunshine. Can I have some? Ethan smiled. It felt strange on his face, like muscles he'd forgotten how to use. But it felt good too. Yeah, he said. You can have some. If your mom says it's okay. Grace looked at him for a long moment. Then she smiled too. Okay, but just this once. And somewhere public, like a diner. I don't know you yet. That's fair, Ethan said. Standing up, he still held the photograph and the note. Can I keep these? They're yours, Grace said. They always were. As they walked together toward the parking lot. Noah slipped his hand into Ethan's hand, just like he had at the cemetery, and Ethan held on. 3 months passed like a gentle river flowing over stones, smoothing all the sharp edges. Ethan started small, just pancakes at the diner once a week, then twice a week. Then Grace invited him to their tiny apartment for dinner, and Noah showed him his collection of toy cars. This one's my favorite, Noah said, holding up a red race car with a missing wheel. It goes a little wobbly, but that makes it special. Ethan smiled. I like wobbly things. They're more interesting than perfect things. He meant it. For the first time in years, Ethan wasn't chasing perfection. He was just being. Grace worked long hours at the diner, so Ethan started picking Noah up from school sometimes. They'd go to the park and feed the ducks. They'd get ice cream and let it drip down their hands. They'd lie in the grass and find shapes in the clouds. That one looks like a dragon, Noah said one afternoon, pointing at a fluffy white cloud. I see it, Ethan said. And that one looks like a pancake. Noah giggled. You think everything looks like pancakes? Maybe everything should be a pancake. The world would be a better place. It was silly talk, pointless talk, the kind of talk Ethan used to think was a waste of time. But now he understood. This wasn't wasted time. This was what time was for. One Saturday, Ethan took Noah and Grace to the beach. Noah had never seen the ocean before. When his toes touched the cold water, he screamed with delight and ran back to Grace. It's so big, he shouted. It goes on forever. Ethan watched them play in the waves, and something inside him unlocked. A door he kept closed for so long finally opened. He pulled out his phone and looked at old videos of Liam. Liam at the beach, building sandcastles. Liam laughing. Liam alive. It used to hurt too much to watch these. But now Ethan could smile, because he finally understood what Liam had been trying to tell him. Love doesn't end when someone dies. It just changes shape. That night, over dinner at a little seafood restaurant, Grace asked Ethan something she'd been wondering for weeks. Why are you doing this? Spending time with us? You're a millionaire. You could be anywhere, doing anything. Why here with us? Ethan looked at Noah, who was coloring on his paper placemat with crayons a waitress had given him. The boy still wore the striped shirt sometimes. It was his favorite. Because, Ethan said carefully, I spent 2 years being angry at the world, angry at myself. I had all the money anyone could want, but I forgot the one thing that actually matters. What's that? Grace asked. People, connection, love. He paused. Liam tried to teach me that when he was alive, but I was too busy to listen. So he found another way to teach me. Through Noah, through you. Grace's eyes got shiny with tears. You really believe that? That Liam sent Noah to you? Ethan thought about it. Did he believe in ghosts? In messages from beyond? In miracles? Maybe, maybe not. But he believed in this. Love finds a way. I believe Liam loved me enough to leave me a message, Ethan said. And I believe Noah was brave enough to deliver it. That's all I need to believe. Noah looked up from his coloring. I finished. Look, he held up the placemat. He'd drawn 3 stick figures holding hands. 1 tall, 1 medium, 1 small. That's us, Noah said proudly. We're a team. Ethan felt his throat get tight. Yeah, buddy, we're a team. After that night, everything changed again. But this time in a good way. Ethan started a foundation called Liam's Light. It helped single parents who were struggling. It paid for groceries, rent, school supplies. It gave people hope when they needed it most. Grace became the foundation's first employee. She helped other parents navigate the system, find resources, and never give up. And Noah? Noah became the foundation's official toy tester. Every holiday, they gave toys to kids who might not get any otherwise. Noah made sure every toy was fun enough, sturdy enough, and special enough. "This one's perfect," he'd say, hugging a stuffed bear. "Some kid is going to love this." Ethan learned to measure his life differently, not by money in the bank or deals closed or companies sold, but by smiles shared, hands held, and moments that mattered. He visited Liam's grave every week, but now Grace and Noah came with him. They'd bring flowers. Sometimes they'd bring dandelions from the park, because Noah said they were happy flowers. "Hi, Liam," Noah would say to the gravestone. "We're taking good care of your dad, just like you asked." And Ethan would stand there, no longer frozen by grief, but warmed by gratitude. One year after that first meeting at the cemetery, Ethan organized a toy car race in the park. Dozens of kids came with their cars, racing them down a wooden track Ethan had built. Noah's wobbly red car with the missing wheel won third place. "I knew you were special," Ethan told the car, making Noah laugh. As the sun set and families packed up to go home, Noah found a dandelion growing beside the track. He picked it carefully and brought it to Ethan. "Make a wish," Noah said. "I don't need to," Ethan replied. "Everything I wish for is already here." But Noah insisted, so Ethan closed his eyes. In his mind, he saw Liam's face. That bright smile. Those mischievous eyes. "Thank you," Ethan thought. "Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for sending me Noah. Thank you for teaching me that it's never too late to start living again." He opened his eyes and blew. The dandelion seeds scattered into wind, floating up toward the pink and orange sky. Noah watched them go. "Where do you think they'll land?" "Wherever they're needed," Ethan said. "Just like you landed exactly where I needed you." Grace joined them, slipping her arm through Ethan's. Over the months, they'd become more than friends. They'd become family, not replacing what was lost, but building something new from the broken pieces. "Ready to go home?" she asked. Ethan smiled. Home. He had a home again. Not just a big empty house with fancy furniture, but a real home, filled with laughter and love and people who mattered. "Yeah," he said. "Let's go home." As they walked to the car, Noah skipped ahead, still wearing that striped shirt. It was getting small on him now. Soon he'd outgrow it. But that was okay, because the love it represented would never be outgrown. It would just keep growing, spreading, touching more lives. That night, after tucking Noah into bed, Ethan sat on the porch with Grace. The stars were bright above them. "Do you think Liam can see us?" Grace asked quietly. "Wherever he is." Ethan thought about the impossible day at the cemetery, the boy in the striped shirt, the box with the note, all the little miracles that had led him here. "I think love never really dies," he said. "It just finds new ways to shine. And yeah, I think Liam sees us. I think he's happy." Grace rested her head on his shoulder. "I think my husband sees us too. I think he's glad Noah has you." They sat there in comfortable silence, two broken people who'd found a way to heal together. Inside, Noah was already asleep, dreaming of toy cars and dandelions and beach waves. The striped shirt hung on his bedpost, a reminder of the day everything changed. And in the cemetery, miles away, a gentle breeze blew across a small gray stone. If you listened very carefully, you might have heard something like laughter, or maybe it was just the wind. But Ethan Cole, who had learned to believe in impossible things, knew better. It was love, pure and simple and eternal. The kind of love that crosses any distance, survives any loss, and finds a way to bring light into the darkest places. The kind of love that says, "You're going to be okay. I promise. Just keep living. Keep loving. Keep trying. I'll be right here, cheering you on." And Ethan did keep living. Not perfectly, not without hard days, but with purpose, with joy, and with a heart that finally remembered how to be full. Because that's what Liam's gift had really been. Not a shirt, not a box, not even a message. It was permission to heal, permission to love again, permission to be happy, even after the worst had happened. And as Ethan drifted off to sleep that night, he whispered into the darkness, "Thank you, son. I got your message. And I promise I'll never forget again." Somewhere, in a place beyond words, a boy smiled. His work was done. His dad was going to be okay. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs hope today. Subscribe for more stories about love, loss, and the miracles that help us heal. And remember, it's never too late to start living again. Love always finds a way. Share this story. Subscribe for more. And never give up on the people you love or on yourself, in memory of all the Liams in the world and all the Ethans learning to smile again